I'm Jen Sherlock. Welcome to Live Without a Net. I'm with Dennis Carradin. He's the founder and CEO of the Trauma Survivors Foundation. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Jen. This is awesome.
What was the worst disaster that you've witnessed, and where do you think you had the most help in it?
Wow. There's many of them. And, I hate to say it, it's all a little bit different. The mind goes directly to the ones involving kids. So I was called out to Oslo, Norway, after the kids were murdered on the island in the camp. And then shortly after that was Sandy Hook. So I think the worst for me personally have been with the kids. Disaster wise, just wide scale disaster. 9/11, Hurricane Katrina was just, I had spent 4 months in the relief efforts at Hurricane Katrina, and that was intense because of the enormity to it. 2,000 Americans were killed by a natural disaster, by a storm, where you had, over 3,000 Americans killed by terrorist acts. But for me personally, it's always the kids. People die. But when it's a child and they're murdered, it really sets you back a little bit. So yeah, so it's I think enormity, 9/11, the tsunami in Indonesia, and Hurricane Katrina. But for me personally, the hardest I think me to deal with was going into Oslo and Sandy Hook.
I have so many questions from that though, so I'm sure it's so hard. Where are you and are you just there at the end of their shift or if they need to talk to someone? I know you said you're there identifying bodies too. Like, what's your role?
I'm the jack of all trades with this one. It really depends on what the need is. Sometimes I know with 9/11 I was on the pile digging alongside doing evaluations and talking to the first responders while I was digging for bodies with them. I was waist high deep in water down at Hurricane Katrina looking through the pockets of new and old dead to get them reunited with their families.